Hey guys, it's Tondra again. Today we're in the back rooms apparently. I was gonna do this outside, but started raining, so decided I'd come in here. Today I want to speak to the male loneliness epidemic. I can only speak from my experience, and I will admit that I am not the average person. I am very far from it. I do not have a job. My education is mostly informal. I don't have a lot of experiences that most people have experienced, and the experiences that most people have, I don't. So I don't. I'm going to be completely honest when I say that I can only speak from my experiences. Now, when it comes to the male loneliness epidemic, I can give my 2 cents as a man. Granted, I'm not, well, depending on what law enforcement agency you ask, I'm trans. I'm not going to disclose whether or not I am. You're going to have to keep guessing. And if you want my 2 cents about it, I mean, as someone who's pan, I will admit that when it comes to dating, and this is not for nothing, and this is not a dig at women, but women are a lot harder to deal with than men. Women, from my experience, and I'm only speaking from my experience when I say these things, women are a lot harder to please than men. Women are a lot more. When they break your heart, they will break your heart and break your world. If I had a son, I would tell him never to give a woman, you can give her time, give her your money, sure. Give her your body if you want, but don't give her your soul. She will sell it off to the highest bidder, to the lowest bidder even. Do not give her your heart; she will break it. And do not give her your mind; she will lose it for you. The long and short of it is that. The long and short of it is quite frankly, it's a case of, how should I put this? It's a case of, I hear a lot from women that men only just want to sleep with them and then leave. They don't want commitment. And from my experience, it's the opposite. Men love intimacy. They love romance. They want to be held and be told they're special and be told that they are loved and that they are needed, that their opinions matter, that what they want matters, that their voice matters, that their life matters, that them being there gives someone else meaning. But from my perspective and from the women I've dated and from the impression that, maybe I've dated the wrong women, I don't know. Maybe I've dated just the lowest, bottom of the barrel types. But when it comes to women, I hate to say this, but a lot of the women I've dated are just guys with a different set of tools and a different set of pronouns, because a lot of the women I've dated, in my personal experience, they will ask me for dinner. They will, we'll go on a date. I'll spend XYZ amount of money on them. They may or may not give me brain. And then when we're done with that, they ghost me. It was always a case of, I have never once in any of my situations, in any of my relationships, not once have I ever ghosted someone. The only time I've ever been ghosted is when somebody else ghosts me. 9 times out of 10, it's a woman, and 9 times out of 10, it's a woman that I ended up being with romantically, if you catch my meaning, once or twice. And it felt, after a while, it started to feel like the women were just kind of there to use my body. I hate to say that, but the women, they're kind of like sharks. They only care about food and sex. I hate to say that, but that's just what it is. A lot of the women I've dated, they seem to just want to ride. I hate to use the incel term of riding the carousel, but from my experience, that's what it is. Men want marriage and women want a carousel. In my personal opinion, dating is cooked. I blame social media and I blame the phone. I do blame the damn phone. I do blame TikTok and social media and dating apps. I think all of it is poison for the mind. I think it's poisoned an entire generation. I remember distinctly. I have this very distinct memory from high school at prom. I think it was either prom or Mardi Gras, one of the two. We had we had like a dance of some kind, and there was like this entire like room, right? And on one wall, all the boys, all the men were all on this one wall, and the girls were all on this other wall, and nobody was dancing in the middle. Not a single one of them was dancing in the middle. It was like cats and dogs. It was like everyone's afraid of each other. And I hate to say it, that was 10 plus years ago. That was more than 10 years ago. So now I can't imagine how much people hate each other. I hate to say that, but that's kind of the vibe I get, is like women and men just hate each other now. And that's like the new normal. And my question is when the fuck did that become a new normal, and who the fuck normalized it? And most importantly, who benefits from this? Who benefits from a divided working class that's divided along ethnic, religious, and even now the lines of male versus female? And the thing is, too, is say what you want about dating. Say what you want about the birth rates. I'm okay with the birth rate collapse at this point, because as far as I'm concerned, whatever bed humanity ends up laying in the year 20 or 2100, when the year 2105 comes around and the human population has gone through a collapse of some kind, sorry to any future generations who's living in that time, but quite frankly, humanity has earned it. Our negligence and avarice, I mean, even today we're paying for it. Even today we're paying for it in the wake of super El Niños and the doomsday glacier and all the other crazy shit we're dealing with. COVID was not even the shot across the bow. That was the first domino falling. That will lead to at least 4 or 5 more dominoes falling. And moreover, when it comes to quality of life, I mean, I'll say it this way, my quality of life after leaving high school is fucking, it's been in a fucking tailspin. I've been homeless for the past 2 fucking years. Like, give me a break. Anyway, when it comes to women and dating and the male loneliness epidemic, it is entirely the fault of capitalism. It is entirely a fault of the corporatocracy that we live under. It is a byproduct of the surveillance state, because that's what social media is. It is one of the many tendrils of the panopticon we are all living in, the encroaching enslavement of humanity. I'm calling it now. Climate change will worsen. The powers that be are letting it worsen on purpose as a means to enslave humanity. And quite frankly, if we don't fight back, we're boned in Minecraft. When it comes to the male loneliness epidemic, the one thing that people don't really want to admit is it takes 2 to tango. If men are lonely, if women are, and the thing is too, is men are not blameless in this. Women are at the highest amount of, they've been taking more psych meds compared to men, and they've been taking more and more annually every single year. I think it's a case of people have forgotten how to get along with each other. It is a case of people have normalized being mean to each other. Maybe I am just a bleeding heart leftist when I say that, but that's just how I feel. When it comes to dating and marriage and kids that result usually from that, well, there was a time when that was the normality, be it be it 90 years ago or 900 years ago, married couples are usually, having kids. It would normally be that pipeline of you marry and then have kids, at least for the majority of the world and for the majority of, from what I understand of human history. Now, I could be completely wrong. But, even before the nuclear family, we had the extended family. We had the village. And I think we should go back to that. But we're getting more and more isolated and atomized every year. Now, here's the fun part. Well, maybe not the fun part, but the interesting part in all this is the population collapse. When people stop marrying, they are going to stop having kids. And I don't think we're going to Netflix and chill our way to extinction, but I do think that we are probably in for a really bad time. And the thing is, too, is unlike Japan that has pretty much already had its population collapse, this is America. People have access to firearms. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. It's not going to look pretty. And the thing is, too, is you have the rest of the West. Look at the history of Germany. Time and again, it's had nationalist fervor after nationalist fervor. Even before World War I, there was a massive, shift towards, the idea of a German republic in the 1800s, and I can easily see a world where Germany goes fascist for a third time and goes nationalist a third time because the birth rate is declining or whatever. And the thing is too is I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. The government has the power to stop the whole birth rate thing. You know that, right? The government has the power to lower infant mortality, to lower women mortality during childbirth. They have the ability to make it so that everyone has housing so that people can actually form families. And I don't have to, live under the same, go back to a mixed household family, which people don't seem to want for some reason. I'm okay with it, but I doubt my parents would be okay with it. And on top of that, job programs will be needed because, let's face it, I'm 29. I am unemployed, never had a job. What makes you think that, what woman on earth, a challenge to any woman who might be watching this, would you date me? Seriously, would you date me? Would you date a 29-year-old with, a master's, a bachelor's, and 0 job experience? Would you? Maybe. I would date me. At least out of pity. But I've noticed a lot of women, and this is me going back to holding people accountable, a lot of women, every time I talk, I hear them talk. Women talk a lot. And they say all the time, oh, well, this is my current boyfriend. They talk about their boyfriends as if they're waiting for someone better to come along. They see their boyfriends, whatever their current boyfriend is, as a means to an end. And I don't fully blame women, but I give 90% of the blame to women whenever men start saying, oh, it's not, she's not the one, it's just my turn or whatever. Or like if I meet a guy friend who's like really pessimistic about his current girlfriend, or like, oh, I know this bitch is cheating. I know she's going to dump me soon anyway. I'm just doing this. I'm doing this because this is the only pussy I'm ever going to have in my life, whatever. I blame women for that. I hate to say it, but if you are if you're sleeping with a guy, sorry, not sorry, you should at least have some commitment in the game. You should have some skin in the game. Because if you don't want anything to do with his life, why lead him on? Why be like, oh, well, when I break up with him, like time and again, they're always talking about, oh yeah, when I break up with this guy I'm currently with, I'm going to go do X, Y, Z, whatever. I'm like, really? If you're planning on breaking up with him, like, can you really call him your boyfriend? Because you're not much of a friend if you're just going to... Here's the thing. Do not use the term friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other if you plan on abandoning that person. That is wrong. That's wrong. It's wrong to do that. You shouldn't abandon people. Here's the thing. People who abandon you were never your friend. People who abandon you were not befriending you. They were using you. Period, point blank. Period, point blank. And moreover, this is important, the people who use and abandon other people, that shouldn't be normal, and that shouldn't be normalized. And I'm not saying it is. And I'm not blaming all women, and I'm not blaming all men. But there are several bad actors who are poisoning the pool for everyone else. And we need to come together as a society to tell them to fuck off. Now, my closing statement is this. People not being able to pair bond, human beings not being able to pair bond and have children, is a very ill omen. You have no idea how much you have to abuse a mammal for it to not reproduce. It is a very grim sign that people are no longer having kids, because that says that people no longer believe in humanity having a future. So what is my closing thoughts on this? Well, we are in for some pretty dark years, unless if the government somehow manages to miraculously change. And I'm not talking reform. That being said, on the off chance I ever get to talk to one of my representatives in quotes, well, I don't know what I would say to, I have nothing to say to Mikey Sherrill. She's a plant. She's always been an industry plant, and I don't care that she flew a helicopter. She bores me to tears, and I hope that Delaney Hall is one day closed. That's all I'm going to say. But when it comes to like Pete Hegseth or you know, J.D. Vance and all the other Palantir puppets that are in office, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I would tell them this, Elon, whoever, I would tell them this. Look at me. High testosterone. I've earned the title of alpha male, albeit from gay men, but that's what they call me. Quite literally, I'm a dom, female equivalent of a dom, or male equivalent of a dominatrix. And you know, I have a pretty sizable body count. Why isn't? Hey, I'm just saying. Ex paramilitary has a breeding kink. That's perfect. That's the perfect resume. My challenge to JD Vance, if he ever fucking watches this, is this: send me to an island that has at least, you know, one fertile woman. We will have more than one kid by the end of the year. Trust me. You know, I Coomer Max. That's the build I went with. And the thing is, too, is the whole the gooner. Oh, all of our young men are addicted to pornography. Blah blah blah. The men would give up porn if the women weren't shit. I hate to say this, but maybe it's not a male loneliness epidemic. Maybe it's females ain't shit epidemic. You know what I mean? Because like, I'm just saying, like, and I don't want to shit on women, and I'm not shitting on women, but if there was a woman who didn't want to just fuck me and then leave me, if there was a woman who genuinely wanted commitment, intimacy, romance, vulnerability, things like that, who actually wanted to be in my life and be there for me, and we can feed off of each other's positivity and make each other better people and actually try to, you know, ride out the horrible world that we live in to the end and go on an adventure. You know, someone who can clear right while I clear left and we breach it. You know, when we breach through the door and, you know, she clears right, I clear left, that kind of thing. You know, if I reload, she covers me. If she's reloading, I cover her, that sort of thing, right? If there's a woman who wants that, she can have me. But I hate to say this, but until that woman comes into my life, until that kind of woman appears, you're going to have men who, myself included, who are going to gooner max, who are going to go to these swinger parties and to the brothels and to the porn and to the this and to the that. People are going to fucking do this because from what I've learned of human nature throughout my whole life is no matter how ugly the path of least resistance is, no matter how immoral it is, people will always take the path of least resistance. Always. So you have to make a world where having a child is the path of least resistance. Take it for what it's worth. Now, that being said, I will always, till the day I die, be a trans-inclusive and sex worker-inclusive feminist. That being said, I do think, Genuinely, some of the biggest haters of women are other women. Some of the most misogynistic people I've ever met, women. Some of the worst examples of toxic masculinity that have been in my life have been from women. I have had several female therapists tell me I should man up and I should stop crying and blah, 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 blah. And on top of all that, honestly, some of the biggest people who uphold patriarchy and benefit from patriarchy are women, specifically cis white women who come from rich dads. Sorry, not sorry. So until we quite literally change everything about our society, we would have to, get rid of like the automobile, go full solar punk, completely neuter federal and state governments. Until we have a full revolution, maybe, until until we lose nothing but our chains, we're going to see that population decline dip. We're going to see the male loneliness thing increase. Marx was right. Marx was absolutely right about alienation, that capitalism will atomize us and we will be so alienated from our work, people will just drop out of society. I'm living proof of that because I quit. I have given up on the idea of getting a job, having a normal life, owning anything. I'm not going to fucking own a house. I feel lucky the fact that I own a fucking car. But other than the car, that's it. The car and the phone, that's it, And that's the issue that Marx predicted is people would have nothing. People would therefore have no skin in the game. Because the idea is if you're not going to own a home, if you're not going to marry, if you're not going to have kids, why participate in society? If you're never going to be part of society, why participate in it? That's just where I'm at. Anyway, that's about all I got to say. Peace.